You told yourself you'd practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. You promised yourself. Then just as you changed into yoga clothes, someone called your name or your phone went off, and then you just drifted off into some unfinished chores. And before you know it, it's 7 p.m. and the only thing that's stretched is your patience, pulled like a rubber band, ready to snap. You're furious, and you're furious not just at yourself, you're furious at everyone around you because you just let it happen one more time. It's not really a time problem, it's not really an energy problem, it's a boundary problem. And today, I'll show you how to finally protect your practice time. I'm Sushmita, but you can call me Sushi, and I grew up surrounded by yoga in India, and I lived in ashrams and trained with some of the best masters in the world. And I've spent years helping people with busy minds just build consistent Ashtanga practices. And they build these practices even amidst a crazy schedule, even when they've got kids in the other room screaming, when they've got work deadlines to meet. And I realized it's not about squeezing yoga into your day, it's more about setting the boundaries so that you become the kind of person where practice actually ends up happening. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the 3 things that you can do, just very practical, simple things that you can do that will help you establish these boundaries and see this practice as a important, almost like a foundational cornerstone for your wellness. And then from this foundational cornerstone, you can then give to the rest of the world. Look, I'm not here to sell you some dreamy retreat in Bali or tell you to chant some magic mantra that promises instant transformation. I'm here because I was you. I genuinely believed that I could be everything for everyone, and I thought like being nice was the best thing to do until my cup just ran dry. And it's only when I started practicing this through my Ashtanga practice, something shifted. Today I practice 6 mornings a week, I teach, I run a household, and honestly I still have energy at the end of the day to record videos like this. And this profound shift didn't start with like better time management or downloading an app with my, different calendar AI things on it. It actually started when I finally admitted to myself that somewhere deep down, my yoga mat is actually the safest, most sacred place where I can practice saying no, and I can do it without apology, without feeling guilty, and without like explaining myself too much. Most women, from the moment we're born, were raised on a quiet, pervasive diet of be helpful, be available, be nice. It's whispered in playgrounds, it's reinforced in classrooms, and it's celebrated in our families. So by the time we reach the age of 35, we can read a room, we can anticipate others' needs, we can smooth over social situations. We're fluent in everyone else's emotional landscape, but tragically, we become almost like utterly illiterate when it comes to our own internal energy gauge. We say yes automatically, almost instinctively, even when every single fiber of our being is like screaming no, we still say yes. And then we get resentful and we get angry when our practice, that one thing that actually stabilizes our blood sugar, elevates our mood, and basically keeps us sane, becomes leftovers. And we all know that having leftovers is never really a full, nourishing meal. So instead, we just snack on guilt and we say, oh yeah, I should be more flexible. I should find the time. I should be more organized. Instead of just actually like making this unwavering, strong decision. Because if we don't, we'll end up just being in this toxic loop of guilting ourselves. Unless we decide one day this is enough and you make that decision. You say, my practice is no longer going to be this dessert. It's not this little treat that I get when I do everything else for everyone else. No, your practice is this foundational plate upon which everything else in your life rests. It's this non-negotiable thing. It's the bedrock of your well-being. Sometimes it can feel like it's not worth fighting for. It's better to just adjust. Until we actually understand the true cost of not having strong boundaries, we won't really see why it's important to have them. And I had to learn this the hard way, but you end up blurring the lines between what's yours and what's not yours. You energetically pick up other people's emotions and you find yourself feeling drained from constantly giving. You become hyper-vigilant because you haven't established where the line is for you. And if you can't protect something as simple and important as your practice, you'll end up being more and more resentful over time and you'll never do things for yourself. So what is a boundary? It's important to, I think, define this before we try and establish it, because I didn't even know the definition of a boundary because I always thought, this is like some internet psychology, pop psychology thing that people just said. Until I actually understood how important it was, I didn't do the research and understand it, but a boundary is basically knowing where you end and where the rest of the world begins. Imagine a delicate candle flame just flickering on the beach. Now, without any protection around it, if a sudden gust of wind comes along, then it's gone. Your inner light, your vital energy, just like that, it's extinguished. The air around it needs to be still in order for it to stay lit. But when you have boundaries, you almost have this like invisible yet incredibly strong glass casing. It's transparent, which means that it allows light and connection to pass through, but it's also firm and it provides this essential protection. It protects you from the winds of the environment, the demands of other people, the noise in your house, the chaos, and it helps you kind of keep this inner flame just burning brightly. So if you're trying to practice and you hear the sound of a drill or your kids screaming in the background or your neighbor's just really noisy and you can't really concentrate, it might just be that you have a boundary problem. And the thing is, boundaries don't separate you from people. They don't wall people off. They're actually strategically there to separate you from the behaviors and demands that just drain you. And in yoga terms, boundaries are kind of like the bandhas of life. They are these subtle, internal, energetic locks that keep your life force energy contained and circulating only within you. And they provide this energetic container for you so that you can fully be present without being consumed by the world and its demands. And this is really where a dedicated practice like Ashtanga Yoga becomes your greatest training ground. Ashtanga at its core is just a series of like non-negotiables. It's the same sequence day in and day out with the same precise breath count, the same vinyasas, the same thing practiced for 6 days a week. There's no room for like sort of doing it while you're answering emails or checking your social media. This practice, by its very nature, forces you to decide. It forces you to decide in advance exactly when your practice is going to happen. And that single decision, that conscious decision, when you make it and you make it repeatedly, it becomes this invaluable rehearsal for every other aspect of your life. So whether it's setting clear expectations on a Zoom meeting or it's establishing a consistent bedtime routine for your kids, practicing Ashtanga is a declaration to yourself that your time, your energy, and your commitment, it's all of that is worthy of protection. But then as women, we feel guilty for taking time for ourselves because we often get so consumed with the sense of our identity that comes from helping people and being there for other people and serving others. And it's not a bad thing to want to have time for self-care because it's absolutely essential to your well-being. But guilt is wired so deeply into our psyche and it's trained to respond to this kind of relational approval, and it's not trained to respond to our inner alignment or what we truly need. And I can tell you this from experience, guilt thrives on hesitation and indecision. So if you want to beat that, schedule your practice in advance and just act decisively. Don't give yourself time to think about it. And if you don't prioritize your well-being, then others won't get the best version of you. They'll get this distracted parent who's always worried about the nagging back pain, or like a coworker who's just snappy all the time and doesn't meet deadlines. So prioritize yourself because that's the least selfish thing you can do. Let's turn this intention into a tangible, actionable plan. So here's a 3-step protocol that you can use literally tomorrow morning. So the first thing is just to outline your body. As you practice, I want you to pay special attention to your extremities. So your fingers and your toes, I want you to just feel the edges of your body. This is you. Everything outside is not you. And this simple awareness starts to create a clear, energetic line between you and the rest of the world. The second thing is to control your breath. Now, this is what you can truly control and regulate. So I want you to just sit in Padmasana, that's lotus pose, or any comfortable cross-leg position, and just sit there for a minute and feel this deliberate inhale and exhale. Do ujjayi breath if you're familiar with it. It's just a constriction at the base of your throat. And by regulating your inner world, you actually get the sense of this is what I can control, this is what's happening inside, and everything outside I can't control. And the third thing is placing your attention carefully. So this is where you're choosing what to focus on. You're not picking up things that aren't yours. To help your efforts, just remove all your distractions from the environment, turn off your phone, close the door. You can't always trust your willpower. So just remember, when you start to practice, outline your body, control your breath, and then place your attention on a chosen point. And this is the art of drishti that I teach inside my yoga mastery program. There's a link for that in the description below. But basically, it's learning how to call back the energy you've lost, because this is your energy. And the more of it that you can access, the more of it that you can even give to your family, to your friends, and then they'll get the best version of you. Think of your practice as the first test of the morning. Can you hold your boundary around it? When you do, you actually create this foundation of like centered, grounded energy, and it translates into the rest of your day. Even if you're not like a generally boundaried person, an asana allows you to literally assume a new position. Even if it's just for 5 breaths, and you can do anything for 5 breaths, by embodying that new emotional state, by sitting in Padmasana and just staying in your own energy, you end up creating this like imprint inside of you, and you don't feel guilty because it's just for 5 breaths, and you finally learn how to protect something that matters to you. And over time, it'll become a part of you, and you don't have to verbally say it, it'll just be in your energy. Because the most important thing is to create an identity around this boundary. So stop telling yourself or telling others, oh yeah, I try to practice like 2 to 3 times a week. It just gives too much wiggle room, too much like escape for like procrastination or self-doubt or all these other things to creep in. Just tell yourself, I'm a yogi. And when you see this as an integral part of who you are, the decision's already pre-made. You just act in alignment with that identity you hold about yourself. There's no daily debate. There's no like internal committee that comes together to decide, okay, let's give her a permission slip because she can do practice today. There's nothing like that. And Ashtanga, with its unwavering consistency, it absolutely rewards this type of mindset. You end up showing up more, you become this Ashtangi, you move, you breathe, and then you're done. And it's not about building more willpower, it's just about changing how you see yourself and how you kind of hold this identity in front of others as well. And this strong boundary, this declaration, that then like becomes your new norm. And your practice is a personal training ground for where you cultivate the most important skill, because even your kids, even your parents, even everyone around you, they can learn to respect you when you can respect your own boundary. Does that make sense? Because let me tell you for free, the world won't simply hand you that hour to practice. It never has, and it never will. You have to claim it, and you have to fiercely defend it. Do that, and you'll find that the resentment gradually starts loosening its grip, and you'll be casting a powerful vote for the woman that you're becoming, the person that you really want to become, the person that gives from an overflowing cup and knows that it starts with unwavering loyalty to yourself, to what you want to do. So in a world that constantly demands more and more and more, just showing up for yourself, I think, is like a powerful and radical act of self-compassion. So I hope you enjoyed this video on how to reclaim your time and energy and mastering the art of boundaries. If you want to learn more about how to actually work with poses that activate this in you, set up a call using the link in the description below. We'll go over like which plan is more suitable for you, either like group coaching or private coaching, and I'll kind of guide you through it. But basically, the idea is to see if you can commit to yourself and learn how to maintain these boundaries using the support of the community, using the support of the pre-recorded classes, so that it doesn't just be this idea, it's actually like a part of your life. And if this message resonated with you, please let me know in the comments. Tell me the small boundary that you're going to set for yourself this week. And if you need more guidance and you're enjoying this, please make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel so that every time I post a video, you get a notification. And thank you for being here. Thank you for your attention. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.